So I love that I'm last here in this, because I am pretty much on the other end of the spectrum, where I have, I think the lowest scores for me were connector and nurturer, and then it's ruler, maverick, and accumulator. And honestly, the thing that hit me first, it was like, yep, that's me. And I think you have, Denise, somewhere, like you mentioned, like I wanted an Oprah type business being a ruler. And I remember being like, oh, seen. And there was so many interesting little parts to that, because I didn't realize, I think the thing about maybe with just rulers in particular, but maybe it's everybody, the thing about my ruler was I didn't realize that I had been kind of partially holding that back a little bit. Like it was a part of me that it needed permission that I didn't realize needed permission. Just be like, this is who I am. And the second part of that was when we did the Sacred Money Archetypes quiz. People are, sharing their answers, and all of these like lovely women that I know were like, oh, I'm a connector, I'm a nurturer, and I'm a whatever. And I was just like, am I a jerk? And I remember you, Denise, saying like, I'm a ruler. And I actually, I distinctly remember this, like I'm paraphrasing here, but you were like, I love the people I work with, but at this, like in Money Bootcamp, like I love all those people, but like, I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to, like, that's just not me. Like, I think your connector was not your top either. And I remember just being like, oh, it's okay. Like I'm allowed to be this way. And it's not even a fault. It's just something that is just who I am, and I can outsource, this and this in my business. And it doesn't need to be this like character defect, like Sarah was saying, like there's nothing wrong with me. It's just when we lean into what makes us us, what lights us up. And what lights me up is that idea of like that word empire. It's just like, oh shit, yes, and the other stuff, once I kind of got over that initial hit of shame of like, oh, I don't really have, like it was like 2 or something, like, but connector and nurture vibe is just not there. But it doesn't mean I'm not caring. It doesn't mean that I don't care about what I do or the people I work with, but really allowing myself to kind of embody that fully. And in particular, see models like you, Denise, who you just, it is who you are, and you don't make apologies for it. You're just like, oh, so then I do this, like I outsource this, or I try to angle my marketing towards these types of people, for example. Like those insights is just, they were so incredibly helpful, because like I said, you don't realize that there's this tiny part of you, or maybe a big part, that is kind of seeking that permission. And then once you get that, like from you see it reflected in somebody else, or you get this kind of on the quiz or whatever, you're like, oh, I didn't realize how much of myself I was holding back. And once you do that, that's where the power comes from, right? Like once you can enable yourself to kind of be fully whole without apology, that is, of course, when things start to happen. But I was not surprised at all. And I have to mention, when I was talking to my husband about this, and we were watching Hamilton at the time, and there were 2 lines in Hamilton. There was one where it's like, why do you write like you're running out of time? So my husband was like, that's you. And I was like, oh yes. And then it was, he will never be satisfied. He's like, that is also you. And I was like, yeah, I get that. And I think that's like the ruler and accumulator together. But again, seeing that not as not everything is something to be healed. Like, yes, there's overworking. Yes, there's overdoing and overgiving and hustler and all that stuff. But not everything in me was like because of a trauma or a problem. Seeing that is just like a strength that not everybody else has. And some people would love to kind of lean into seeing that and being like, yes, I have some of that Hamilton energy right there. That's okay. And allowing that to happen was just really, really huge for me.
So I'd love to invite you to be one of our next inspiring case studies as well. So check out SMA. I hope you come and join us, and it's your time and you're ready for the next step.